A pencil and an eraser together cost $1.10. The pencil costs $1 more than the eraser. How much is the eraser?
3, 2, 1.
If you said 10 cents, you're wrong. Not because you're stupid, because your brain moved too fast to check. It heard $1 more and jumped, without pausing, without verifying, without asking you. The real answer is 5 cents. And your brain skipped it in under a second. That skip, that's what this test is actually about. Because your brain does this in real life too, with people, with decisions, with moments that cost you. 4 situations. 4 times your brain moves before you do. Most people fail too and never figure out why. Let's find out which ones you pass. Someone drops a subtle dig, a comment that lands entirely wrong. And instead of firing back, something inside you just stops. Not because you had nothing to say. Trust me, you had plenty. But your brain caught it before it left your mouth, without you even deciding to. Most people call that weakness, biting your tongue, letting it go. But here's what actually happened in that 1 second. Your brain measured the room, calculated the cost, and decided that reacting would lose you more than staying quiet. That's not weakness. That's the highest level of control a brain can have under pressure. And the people who do this consistently, they walk out of every room with their power still intact, while everyone else is still arguing over nothing. If that sounds like you just passed the first test. But the next one is something your brain does when nobody is watching. It's late. Your body is done, but your brain refuses to switch off. And suddenly, you're in a full conversation that hasn't happened yet. You're winning an argument with someone who isn't even in the room. Or you're standing on a stage, giving a speech, and the crowd is hanging on every word. You didn't choose to go there. Your brain just took you. And the details are so sharp, so real, that for a few minutes, it actually feels like it happened. Most people shake it off and call it a waste of time. But what's actually happening is that your brain is running simulations, building scenarios, testing outcomes, rehearsing versions of your life before they exist. That's not daydreaming. That's your brain doing cognitive work that most people's minds aren't even capable of. The only problem is, most people use that power to replay the past instead of building the future. If your brain does this at night, you just pass the second test. But the third one hits different, because it's about what happens when you're surrounded by people. You're in a room full of people, conversation everywhere, and someone turns to you and starts talking about the weather, or the game last night, or what someone said at work, and something inside you just drops. Not because you're rude, not because you don't like people, but because your brain is sitting there burning energy on a conversation that feels like it's going absolutely nowhere. Most people think that's a personality problem, that you're antisocial or cold or just difficult to be around. But what's actually happening is that your brain runs on a faster frequency than most. Shallow conversation feels like being forced to walk when you're built to run. It's not that you hate people. You just can't pretend that surface level talk feels like enough, because for your brain, it genuinely isn't. The people who feel this consistently, they're not broken. They're just wired for depth in a world that mostly stays shallow. If that sounds like you just passed the third test. And the fourth one, this is where it gets really interesting. You know exactly what you need to do. The task is sitting right there. The email, the work, the thing that actually matters. And instead of doing it, you pick up your phone and start scrolling. Not because you're lazy, not because you don't care, but because 2 parts of your brain are pulling in completely opposite directions at the same time. One part knows what needs to happen. The other part refuses to move. And that friction between knowing and doing, that's not a productivity problem. That's your brain holding 2 conflicting truths simultaneously and struggling to choose between them. Most people never notice that's happening. They just call themselves lazy and move on. But the fact that it bothers you means your brain is aware enough to register the conflict. And that awareness is exactly what separates high-functioning minds from everyone else.
Now, look back at all 4 situations. The quiet moment when someone pushed you and you held it together. The late nights where your brain refused to stop running. The rooms where small talk felt like it was slowly draining you, and that painful split between knowing what to do and still not doing it. How many did you pass? Drop your number in the comments. 1, 2, 3, or all 4. I'll be honest, most people won't admit their real score. Let's see if you will.